everything. So just give me a moment to have both up and going, and we will get started with today's item. I'm excited about it. All right. There we go. I am officially live, but you guys are not even, and it's driving me nuts. Sorry, I'm moving y'all around. Let's see. I got to move just a little bit more because it's just driving. There we go. All right. I think I'm okay with where we're at now. I think. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I am letting YouTube and TikTok let everybody know that I am live. While it is doing that, I'm going to bring up my backup account so that I can see comments on TikTok. I do not have a backup account of YouTube, so I will only be able to see when we go down TikToks if I look at the backup account. Hi, Sissy. As always, 10 shares, 10,000 likes, and we, oh, hi, Craft 167. How are you doing? We will be doing giveaways if we get 10 shares and 10,000 likes on TikTok. There we go. All right. So I am Carol, the owner and creator of everything at CarolJo's.com. CarolJo's is an online jewelry and accessory business for women. I create everything that you see on the website. Buttercup will do our bead soup when she has it, but really, truly, the creation is my baby. And I have a piece of hair that is like driving me nuts. Sorry, everybody. All right. So, but we do more than just the jewelry and that type of thing. We do chat times twice a week. We will have one coming up. I believe it is Thursday. I can't remember. It might be tomorrow night. I can't. Hi, T. So we'll have that. We also do sales. Last night we did the beadable bar necklace. When we did the tutorial, I brought items in from that we could create jewelry with. We do bringbacks a couple of times this week. We'll have silicones a couple of times this week. And we'll have another bringback. And we'll have our normal bead sale. Hi, Cheyenne. But today is about tutorials. I do tutorials twice a week. And this one is the silicone side. Hi, Madeline. Hi, Glossy. How are you all doing? So what we're going to be doing today, I'm like, what was my second bead that I had for this one? I thought I grabbed another one for this one, and I might not have. So I might have to grab some beads. So, but I got a majority of them. Thank you. We're going to be creating what we call it's a silicone bead phone grip. It has on here 2 metal components that have the loops on them that have an adhesive back. So they have a piece of paper on them right now that if we take this off, you would be able to stick it to the back of your phone case or your Kindle case, that type of thing. Hello, McDan McClan. And what you do is once you take those off, you just put one on here and one down here in the opposite corner, and it will create a little gap there for you to be able to hold your cell phone or your tablet, you know, if you have the type of case that'll allow you to do that with like your Kindle or your tablet. Hi, Teresa. So that is what we're going to be doing today, is we're going to be creating this. All right, so what I want to say before we begin is that the amount of beads you use depends on how big you want this to be and how much of a loop you want. Hi, Cherie. Here I have got 2 15 millimeters, a 14 millimeter octagon, our focal, once again, 2 15 millimeter round, and the 14 millimeter octagon. I did, Madeline, I thought. If I didn't, I apologize. Hi, I love writing. So that is what we've got here for beads that we're going to use. I'm going to hold it up close for both YouTube and TikTok. So there's for TikTok, and here is for YouTube. I will have available on not tomorrow's silicone sale, but Thursday's silicone sale, the adhesive pieces that we're going to use. I will have them in the silver hearts, the black hearts, and I will also have rectangles in silver. So they come like this. Don't ask me how much they are. We are going to be doing a tutorial. Whoops, I got that backwards there. There we go. You're going to get a pair in the package. We're doing a tutorial on how to make the phone grip. So you can put this on your phone and allow it to be like a handle for your phone. You can then like slip your hand in here too, you know, so you can hold it. You'd slip your hand in here and it just makes it so it doesn't drop too. It is just to really truly to help you hold your phone and not drop your phone all the time. This is one style. There is another style that we'll be doing next week, just to let y'all know. We have a few styles that we're going to be doing to help you make sure you're not dropping your phones. All right. Hey, I have a number from last night that I didn't put away. I'm going to put that away so I don't lose it. Oh, I've done that before. I actually put the number in something and I couldn't find it for months. And then I found it. I put it in somebody's order and then they didn't pay. So then I found it. Oh, okay. Long story there. Sorry. But this is what we're going to be doing. Now, the supplies that you're going to need are going to be the 2 adhesive pieces, which we've got different ones here that we're going to be working with today. You will need a focal. And we've got a few different focals, like here is one of them. It says the word hello in there. You need whatever kind of silicone beads you want. Some of them I'm going to use a solid and a print. Another one I am going to use a solid and a hex or octagon. And then this last one, I've got a solid. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this one for the second one. I thought I got something, but I didn't. It is tutorial time, Miss Joya. So we're going to play that one by ear. And I might have to go grab my beads to see what we're going to do. All right. I am going to point you guys down to my table so that you can see. Oh, I forgot to go through everything else that we're going to need. A scissors, a plier, a loop turner for the tools, and a ruler if you want to measure out how much string cord you want, the nylon cord. I'm using the 1.5 nylon cord today. There's a reason why, and I'll explain that when we get to it. I will also need for a tool, I forgot my grip, whatever. I can't think of the second word that goes with those, but my knot grippers, holy buckets, and the butane little torch. Holy, that word just went woo. All right. Now I'm going to point you guys down so you can watch me make them, okay? So here we go. One by one, I'll point you down. Ooh. Sorry, everybody. I got you side by side, so it kind of hits each other. All right. Bring that back. So what we're going to do is lay out our beads first. We are going to do this one first. You can see part of this one already. I'm going to use the prints. I'm going to use solids. And I am going to use one of the butterfly focals in what I would call the buttercream color. So we're going to do like this. And he doesn't. So you can add lobster clasp to the end and do the lobster clasp in here to change it out, which I would show you that, but I do not have enough lobster clasp to be able to do that to sell so that you guys could have additional to be able to do it. I'm wondering. I think I like that. We're going to go with print, solid, focal, solid, print, solid, print. So now we're just going to put on our loop turner. The loop turner has a little bit of a hook here and this little thing here. Just push that down and then you can just put the beads on the loop turner in. The first on is last off is the way to think about it. I thought those were cool colors too, Miss Joya. There we go. And that's what it'll look like. I really do like those colors. They're just the muted tones that just, I think, look good. Now, for the length of string or the cord that you're need, we're going to need about 30 inches. So my ruler is 18, so there's 18. And then there is 12. Use the scissors to cut off your nylon cord. Okay. We are going to, I'm going to see which one looks better, if silver or black. I have 2 sets of black and I have 1 set of silver that I'm using today. I think the matted black looked better. So we're going to use matted black with this one. Take your cord and put it in half. Go through your loop. You have a loop here. So you're going through the loop of your piece of metal, and then you have a loop here. Grab your cords, and don't swing it around like that. Yours. And then pull that tight. And that's putting that onto what you're going to adhere to the phone case. Now, you're going to take your loop turner, and at this end, you're going to take both loops through here, or both cords through that loop turner loop, and then we are going to push these beads on. Now, remember I said we're using 1.5. 1.5 times 2 is 3 millimeters. The normal hole for a silicone bead is 2 millimeters. But because it's silicone, it moves and allows you to have both of those. So that is what is on here. So, and allows it to do it. Okay. But what's going to happen is if you would put an acrylic bead in here, you would need to have an acrylic that has a hole that is bigger than 3 millimeters for every bead but the last one. The last one is going to actually need more. So that's why I say silicone works the best for these. And that is also why I'm using the 1.5 millimeter cord, is because you've got a total of 3 millimeters going through each bead. Now, if you would use the 2 millimeter cord, you're going to have 4 millimeters worth going through it. We're just starting here. I can't read exactly what everybody's putting on. I have on, it's not a jersey. It is just a t-shirt, but it's the jersey look of McCaffrey. I'm like, oh my gosh. I want to get the Kittle one because Kittle's my favorite. Hi, Geraldine. So that is why I say I suggest using silicone beads only, and also using 1.5 millimeter cord. All right. So we're going to put that on there. We are going to push this through sometimes, and I'm holding these. We're going to make a phone gripper out of silicone beads. So here, if you notice, I've got my fingers on the sides of the beads. The reason being, this one is a little bit harder to get everything on because you're going through at the very beginning here. There, we got that one through, got that one through. You're going through actually 6 until you get to that point where it doesn't double over. That's why you don't want the double over to be very big. I got 3 on so far. It wasn't this hard to make the first one, sorry. He's just being stubborn beads. Put that on there again and push down. You want it enough that you're going to be able to get that down, but you don't want it to be so far that you have to do this pulling through 6 millimeters on a silicone bead very much. All right, we got it. So there is the hardest part, I think, of the whole thing was trying to get those through there. Hi, Rose. Now, you're going to take your other end of your closure, or not the closure, and of your adhesive that you're going to put on there, your metal piece. You're going to take the 2 pieces through. So if you notice, I just done them through. Now we're going to take our loop turner. I'm going to go through this last bead, but I want to go back towards my piece of metal. So we're going to put that in there. And I am going to do it with this curvy part on the upside. I didn't show you that, guys, that. The reason being is I don't want to snag my cord. Now, we've got that loop turner there. If you notice, it is right here as our end. We are going to put our cord into the loop turner. This is easier when you're not trying to show you on camera. Trust me, it is easier. Whoop. And then get that there. All right. We are going to pull this bead through with the loop turner, and we are actually double. Ugh, there we go. It is not easy getting that last one in there, but it is doable. Sometimes you will need to use your pliers to get it through, but I got it through without my pliers. That's why we have the pliers, is just really to try to get this one through. And I got it. So do you see how I have everything lined up there? Now what I'm going to do, now that I look at it with the black, I should have used black cord instead of white. We're through one. We're going to tie this now. You're going to go ahead and tie your, but I'm not doing it very tight. I just got it sitting there. I'm going to hold on for a second. Create a loop at the end of your cord. Double it through the hole and just create a knot at the end here. Do the same thing over here on this side. I went through the hole once, went through it twice, pull that down and create a knot at this end. Grab your knot grippers. That knot that we did at the end is to help keep your gripper, your cord from slipping out of the gripper. Now just pull that tight. You want it tight, but you don't want it so tight that these are not going to lay down. Thank you, Rose, for the gifts of the white doves. We're going to take these off. Well, thank you. We reached our goal. We're going to tie that one more time. I'm going to get it really close to that. Put my knot grippers on. And then pull tight. There we go. I want to get it tight so that it'll hide my knot. And it's not going there yet. There we go. I just heard it. Okay. Sometimes you will hear when the knot goes inside. Then I'm going to cut off my knots at the end here. Take my loop turner through and make it on the upside. I'm going to bring through each one of these ends through to the next bead, and I'm going to do them one at a time. You pull that. We're going to do it again here. And I do put my loop turner hook part up away from the cord so it doesn't snag the cord. That is a part of what we want to keep. And pull that one through. Pull on them to hide the knot if it came out. There we go. You can at this point cut the cords off, or you can make another knot if you wanted to make another knot. That is, I'll show you in just a second, Rem. That is up to you how many knots you want to do. I'm going to cut them off. So we're going to open this up. I bring down this side and this side. Get really close and cut off that cord. I'm trying to get it shorter. Sometimes it makes a little bit of a fuzz. And then we use our butane lighter, and then we just do that. We've made it so that all that fuzziness went away and it's inside there. You don't want to do the heat towards a printed bead because it can scorch a printed bead more than it will a solid bead. And there we are. I'm going to get rid of these ends and all the little fuzzies if I can. Now, how this works, once again, I'm not going to attach it to my phone. The reason why I'm not attaching it to my phone case, this is my personal phone case for my phone. And what will happen is every time I go to do a live, I have to take off my phone case because this is too much bulk for my phone stands that I use for my lives to hold my phone. But you would put these two on there. You see how this one, we added an extra 15 millimeter and it gave us more room than when we had this example where we have one less 15 millimeter and you just don't have as much room. So depending on the size of your hand, how big, you can bring these closer together. They don't have to be up here in this corner and down there. They could be somewhere in the middle. It's where you want to put it. And then that creates the little gripper that you would hold on to. So this is the one we just made, which I think is just adorable. I don't know what you guys think. That is it. They are so simple. It just takes a little bit of muscle is the biggest thing. We're going to show you another one. That's Joyous Colors too. We are going to use 2 white 14 millimeter octagons on this one. We are going to use 4 15 millimeter solids. And then our focal. Thank you, Marie, for the follow. Will be a shamrock 4-leaf clover. It will be the same as this one in size approximately. Now I'm going to decide here. Do we want matted black or the shiny silver? You guys let me know in the chat. Which one do you think we should use? The shiny silver, matte black. And this time, if we go with black, I'm going to say we're going with the black string. So 2 silvers, 1 black. I don't know how to create a pole or else I'd create poles. All right, we'll go with the silver. All right. With the silver, I'm going to use the white. Everybody's saying silver pretty much. We only had 1 black. All right. Thank you for all the gifts there, Tabby. Thank you, thank you. We're doing 30 inches of the cord. We're going to cut that off in half. Aha. We're going to take half of our metal, put that loop, see how we got this loop here through that. We're going to bring our 2 ends through and create that so it's down like that. We're going to put our beads on. First on is last off, as you saw in that last one. Oh no, why is that, Miss Rose? You're just fine. I'm going to take a drink here. My voice is getting hoarse. All right, here we go. Down at this end, we're going to open up our loop because our loop turner decided he should be shut. Oh no, you just want to shake your head when you do that. And then close that up, turn these upside down, and push them down. Then get that through. See, that one was easier. That was what it was like when I did it earlier. I didn't have all the problems of having to do a little at a time. So, Jay. There we go. We got them on. Now we're going to take the other end and we are going to loop or put our two ends through this loop on the metal part. On the last bead, we're going to go through it towards our metal part with the loop side that opens up. Grab a hold of the two ends. Shut that up. There we go. And then we are going to pull this bead through. I'm just holding everything in place and trying not to get my finger stabbed. There we go. We got it. I'm going to take that off because this one's going to be hard. This is, I'm going to show you guys using the pliers. You just grab a hold and pull. Now you see we have a little bit of a gap here. We don't want that gap. So we're going to pull this down like that. And then we're going to grab these two ends and pull it. There it is with no gaps in there. It's going to go this way. Now we are going to tie a knot right here. I'm not going to put it really tight yet. Put that in there twice. I only got it through once. There we go. Now we're through twice. This side, we're going to do the same thing. Through and through. And pull that down. Hello, Floppy Loppy. Wrap that around our knot grippers. And then we're going to pull that one tight. Whoop, he popped right away. It already went inside. We're hope the second. Okay, we're going to tie a second time. So we take our knot grippers off to do our knot. Put them back on the knot grippers. This may seem tedious to use the knot grippers to constantly put it on and off, but for me, I do not have as much strength in my hands if I don't use the knot grippers to get it really tight. And that would really stink. All right. Now, he is hidden in there. Whoop, whoop. We're going to cut off our knots on the end. I'm going to show you what we were talking about before where you can do it through a second time. We are going to do the loop turner upside and push him through. Come on, little dude. We got to make our hole. There we go. And we're going to put one cord through. I'm just going to hold this until and just guide it along and then until we get to the end, and then we can just pull this through. If we can't pull it through, you can always grab your pliers. We're going to go through again, back through the hexagon or octagon, grab this end and pull this through. I'm going to grab my pliers to pull that through. There we go. Now you can decide. You can leave it there. This time, I am using 1.5, Melissa. 1.5. You can do a second loop or a second knot on this if you want to make sure your knots are going to stay. Just pull that, and then I'm going to use the knot gripper. You're welcome. Wrap that around. Get on here and wrap this one around. And we are going to pull that tight. So we got one knot in there. If you wanted to do another knot, you sure can. Get it close, but not all the way tight, because I stink again at tight with my bare hands. There are some people that can do it. I am just losing. It was funny. I watched my mom lose and then pull it tight. There we go. We got it hidden. I watched my mom in her 50s lose the strength that you have in your hands. I don't know how else to say it. And I was like, God, I hope that never happens to me. And I know it's happening to me. I can't open jars like I used to. My mom actually lost hers in her 40s. And then once again, we are going to pull this through so that our knot isn't at the same spot as where we're going to end this. So we're going to go through one more this way. We're going to do that again here. There. And bring this through. That's sage. It's called pistachio is what we named it, but Buttercup said I should have not named it that. You know what she said I should have named this color of bead instead of pistachio? This one here. When she said it, I was like, oh, she should have been here. Cut off. So if you notice, I've moved this and then I am cutting this off really, really close. That is really good. I don't have to and then use your butane and then there we go. And we got it hidden. And there you have, let's go on this side. There we go. Another gripper, phone gripper. So this one would look this way. You put it here and here. Except for wrong way. You got to make sure you got them the right way before you put them on the phone. Because if you notice, he was upside down to begin with. Whoops, sorry, YouTube. I was up too high for you guys. Sorry. So that is how you do that. I have one more that I'm going to do. I'm going to make you up just a titch higher. I have one more, but I don't know that I want white. I forgot to grab a second color before we started, and I don't even know if I like this color with it because it doesn't match that one. I'm going to go grab my box of silicone beads. Hold on, everybody. Let's see what we can find to go with this one. It says the word hello on it. What does she think I should call it? She thinks we should call it CarolJo's because it's my favorite color. And it is actually the part of the colors that I use for my business. When she said that, I was like, oh, you are so smart. Okay, that one matches. Now let's see if I just have 4 more or 3 more in there. There's a little piece of yeesh on it. There we go. Silicone beads attract dust. Is that the right one? Yep, we got 2. Is that the same color? Yep. Hey, I found 4 of those. And let's see what other color I can find in here to match this. And hair, yes. Between that, yep. They just, it's like, that's why people use baby wipes on them all the time. Ooh. Nope, it's not quite the right color. And I'm trying to decide, I don't know that I want to use a white bead. Let's see what we have in here. Nope, that doesn't go. Okay, so we don't want those. What do I have for prints? Huh. I don't like any of those prints either. Okay. That's a good idea. So what Melissa said is she uses a Lysol wipe on hers right before she puts them in a bag. That is a good idea. Let's see. I don't like that one in there. That one's too pink. I'm being too matchy-matchy, and I know that I should just get over being matchy-matchy. A tan? No, I do not. I have one in there. I have, ooh, nope, those, that decreases it. I want it to be like pow. And I'm wondering if I just go with 2 of these. I don't know that I want to use white. I got white. I was going to use white for something else, but let me see. And that might be what we do. What do you think with the white? See, to me, white was too plain. You guys let me know what you think about the white. Let's see if I can find another one of those. There we go. What do you think of that? Like that, you mean, Joya? Hi, Chris. Where's this? That one's more lime. Hold on, let me see if I can find another one of that one. I do have another one of that. How about that? Pink in the middle. Do we do that? Ooh. I'm doing good. How about you? Guys, let me know. Should I go A or B? Without the white. Like that. Okay, we're going that route. All right. So we're going from the bottom to the top. This one's going to go on black, which I don't know that I like the black. I'm going to see if I like the black or not. I might have to take some out of those that I was going to sell. Hold on. Let me see. All right. Yeah, I'm going to. Okay. We're going to do silver, everybody. because I think silver would look better. We're selling them individually, not in pairs like I thought. Sorry, I had that wrong. Because there's another thing that I will be teaching next week where they will be individually. Yep, that is right. There we go. We got it. The color ones I have are for my personal use. And I was looking at those, but then I thought I'm not going to show you guys those because then you're going to ask me, and I could only get that package and I cannot get them at a discounted rate. So I don't want to give you something, hope that you would have something or show you something that you're like, oh, I want that, and I can't get it for you. I've had them for a while. We were using them to make Buttercup her charm or her grippers for her phone. All right, we got 30 inches of cord. Put it in half. Half of your metal piece, you know, we have 2 pieces. We'll put one of it on one and we'll just bring that down. Then we have it on our loop turner. We are going to, at this end, put our 2 pieces of cord in there. I'm holding this folded over with my fingers so that I don't lose my end since it's so little bit on there. Once you get down there, then start pushing the beads on. I think they're turning out good. All right. Got our beads on easily their time. The first time I was showing you guys, I don't know why it was so hard, but it was. We're going to take both of those ends through. And as you can tell, we got our loop turner caught on there and it frays it. That's why we always go to the end. We're going to go back through the white one, back towards our metal piece with this part up, where you have the little thing that moves here. I think you might have enough to do some of it, Joya. You might just have to get a couple of these. But you have enough, I think, of the silicones that you could make 1 or 2. Hi, Robin. Once again, close that up. I'm going to hold this together and bring it towards my bead. Yep. I was going to do that after the live. And I said I was going to do it before the live, and I didn't. I didn't have a chance because I've had an interesting morning. So little Miss Buttercup did not take her swimsuit to her summer program because today was not supposed to be a swim day, but they are going swimming. So I had to run her swimming suit to her. And I had an interesting time doing that. Okay. So we're going to tie our knot, then tie knots into the bottoms. So what happened is they're doing construction on the highway that you take to go into town. And they are planting the grass on that highway right now from their project work. And I had 3 guys decide to start pushing like straw bale across the road right in front of me as I'm going 30 some miles an hour. Like just stepped out in front of me like it was no big deal. And I was like, holy crap. All right, we're going to pull this tight for that first knot. Get that in there. That was really tight. Then, after they did that, I got everything I needed to do in town, came back home, same construction place, and now a John Deere tractor pulled out in front of me. And I was like, okay, seriously, 4 people, 4 in 2 separate incidences. All right, I'm going to pull this tight. And we've got that in there, cut off of our little knots on the end so you can get this through. Yeah, I was like, I did call, because this one is the Department of Transportation is actually the head of this project, even though it's because it's a state highway. We have county highways and state highways and stuff, or county roads. This one is a state. And so I called the state, and I called in on the person who is running the project and talked to both of those and told them, I'm like, that scared me. That literally scared me. Both times I was like way below the speed limit. Had I been going the speed limit, it would not have been a good thing. All right, we're going to pull this through. And what it is that they're putting in the grass that's going to be in the side, in the ditches of the highway. And they are planting that. So they have a planting crew for that isn't subcontracted. And they're the ones, both incidences were with that crew. And because of that, they will be tying to that crew going, you guys got to be a little bit more careful. Yeah, they didn't even have the signs. They had one side, when I was going in, they didn't have anybody telling, there was no sign saying slow down, nothing. On the way coming out, whoops, that was my stuff falling there. They did have they had to slow down, and I had slowed down. And then the person that is the sign guy was on the other side of where that tractor turned in front of me. Yeah. The hearts here, I have these I will have in silver and in the matte black. And then I have little squares or rectangles that are the silver. Those are what I'm going to have up for sale. I'm going to cut off my ends here, and then I will explain something else here with what, I think it was Renee that said that, or not Renee, Teresa. We're going to do our torch. We're going to torch the ends. Ooh, this one's really small. I'm going to go from this way. There we go. And that is in there. There we go. So the word hello is there. So this is where I would put it like this and like this. Let me try getting that up so you guys can see it up. Okay. If it is a solid color, it takes a lot to scorch a solid color. But if it is a print like this here, it will scorch it. So when you do the torch, you want to always do it towards the solid, if you've got that. So yeah, I think these are really a neat idea. So that's just another way to use your silicone beads. I'm going to put you guys up. You're welcome, Robin. Hi, Reagan. Whoop. There we go. There we are. Okay, put you guys up. So when, I think it was, Teresa was saying, instead of attaching it to here, to this adhesive part, because when you do that, this is what you're going to have all the time. And if that's what you want, that's what you can do. What those that like to change things out, you can add, and I don't have the right type of lobster clasps right now. They are in my next order. So that's why I didn't teach it with that, because these are too big. You will be able to do a lobster clasp, and then you would be able to attach it here. So instead of putting your cord through this, you're going to put it through the lobster clasp, and then you're going to change it out. The shelf I got behind me is actually, if you go to the closet stores, I don't know what they are called in everybody's area, but where they can customize your closet to have, you know, your hanging rods and shelves in it. That's what this is. What I did is they were discontinuing this color, And so I got it at a huge discount. My whole entire setup for my wall, it's 8 foot wide, 8 foot tall, was $200 because I found it on closeout. And the color actually matches my flooring and the wood that we have throughout our house. So for me, it was okay that I got it, even though we're going to put it in a different location. It just, that's what I did. And then we just, instead of putting in the rods and then you can have pull out drawers and all that kind of stuff, I just put shelves on every one. Yeah, it was a great deal. I mean, and you're welcome. The reason why I ended up getting it was someone I went to high school on Facebook shared her friend's post because they owned the store. And so when I called, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be honest. I don't follow you guys, but this person follows you and shared it. And I was wondering if I could get it from you guys, but I need to change it up. Hi, Mia. And they actually grew up together and such. And so it's a small world in South Dakota to be able to do that. Just tells you how small South Dakota is. And so because of that, I got a deal on it. It was a great find. I mean, they were discontinuing it. They just wanted the cost of what was in the material. So that's what I paid for it. So yeah, I was very lucky. So yep, so this is, I'm like loving these. But like I said, you can put a small lobster clasp that will clear this metal bar here. And once it can clear that, then you can change them out too. So that if you wanted to change it out for your outfit or whatever it is, you can do that. These are your colors, Miss Joya. So that is what I wanted to teach you guys. Now Thursday, hi Allison. Oh, it's Mishi? Is that how you pronounce that? This piece here, I will have up for sale on our Thursday silicone sale. Tomorrow we have, once again, 28 bags. How my ladies make 28 bags each time is, I think, phenomenally funny. But we will have 28 bags where we will have 4 colors of silicone beads, 5 of each color. So a total of 40 or a total of 20 beads in a bag. We'll have those up for sale tomorrow on our silicone sale. Then I will switch over to some focals if we have time. And then on Wednesday or Thursday, we will have these metal pieces. And Ava, hello Ava. And then we will have them in all the 3 shapes that I have, shapes and colors. And then we will also have the rest of the focals. And then I have, I think, 1 or 2 more acrylics that I was going to bring. Hello. Hi, Ava. Hi, Mishi and Allison. All right. That was what I have for you guys. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. I will not be on tonight. I will not be on because we have a baseball game. So we're going to go to a baseball game. Hopefully, no more broken windows. How's that sound? So that is what we're going to be doing tonight. And we will be back on tomorrow. 11 o'clock is when we will have a bring back sale. At what? That's at 11. 1 o'clock we'll have the silicone sale, so we'll have an hour break in between. And then tomorrow night, I believe I have chat time. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.